Hello. Is thing recording? Yeah, it's
I
on.
don't know. I didn't
Okay.
hear.
I didn't either. I didn't hear anything. There
There
we
we
go.
go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Beyond the Arc podcast. Dallas, is always, joined by Levi. Levi, how's it going, man?
What's up, brother? How you doing? Been a good week. Been good since the last time we talked.
Yeah, it has, man. I mean, Tennessee's been on a tear, and weather's got was somewhat nice. Kind of went back to winter for a few days there, but seems to be turning the
Yeah.
corner. I know obviously we're recording this today on Tuesday instead of Monday yesterday. You told me you had your prostate exam yesterday, so um, you told me it was one of them new ones where it's a hands free or something like that. I wasn't going to go too far in detail with that, but other than that, just want to start off here on somewhat of a somber note. Of course, everyone's heard by now about the passing of Wes Rucker. Just want to say we send our all best well wishes out to the family, kids. I mean, because his wife was pregnant, and the one he has now that was living on this earth. I mean, that's without a father, and she's without a husband. Just a sad situation all around. Levi, you have any words you want to add before we move on to discussing a little bit of a lighter topic?
It was awesome to see what happened with his GoFundMe, which I expected. That's the volunteer way, and it's always funny when people are like, "Man, I just didn't expect that." This fan base takes care of their own. Wes and I always had a couple jabs back and forth with each other on Twitter. We had fun together. Yeah, he was a great guy overall, though. I never had a single problem with Wes, and he was very passionate about Tennessee sports the same way many of us are. So yeah, it's just absolutely horrible. Whenever you text me that day, where I was in complete and just utter disbelief, and just prayers to his family and everybody involved, even the people that made it out of that wreck alive. Prayers to everybody, and especially prayers to I believe his wife's name's Molly.
Yeah.
Um, Prayers to her, prayers to Hank. Cool little kid, wild kid, but cool. Only time I ever got to meet him, he probably ran a 4.41 40 across Thompson Bowling Arena. So, but yeah, it's just really sad, man, and he'll be missed. He really will, and hopefully everybody can move along, and he was a man of God, so we know we'll see him again one day.
Absolutely. Couldn't say it any better myself. And just some side note for me, the Vanderbilt. Holy shit, I need a haircut. All right,
Hey,
so
man,
let's.
I do too, brother. Look at this.
Yeah, I just noticed it. I happened to look up and I was like, oh my lord. All right, so moving on to, I mean, Vanderbilt game. It was a win that was Tennessee needed. Obviously, it was a really, really good win. I mean, I think good teams find a way to win that type of game, and Tennessee did. Did you see the video? Not the video, but the tweet from Grant Ramey saying that I think it was like a day after the game, he saw Nate Ament, or at least he he believes it's Nate Ament trying to
Couldn't
get
get in
into
there.
Thompson Bowling Arena. This is just my formal not announcement, but what would the word be? Request to Danny White. Let's get Nate Ament a key to TBA. I mean, if the man needs to go get some shots up, we need to get Nate whatever he needs to get in and get some shots up. But if it
I think he
wasn't,
was across the street at the athletic facility, that's
uh,
dead straight across from Pratt. And that one, I don't know that anybody has a key to that. It's like a gate code. You got to like punch some numbers in. And I still don't know why they haven't went to like a scanner, like a badge or something like that. But if it actually was Nate, he was probably going to get his ribs iced because poor guy got hit in the ribs about 40 times against Vanderbilt.
yeah, and if it wasn't Nate, like someone in the replies said, let's get that man to Rick Barnes ASAP. If there's another 6'10"
Yes.
guy wandering campus. All right,
Yeah.
but anyway, just Bishop Boswell, I thought he was huge down the stretch there. Had four huge points. Had that where he almost turned the ball over and then he just drove down full court and probably should have been an and one to be honest. And then he had the little fade away mid range jumper that was very nice. It got to fall down. So shout out to Bishop Boswell. He was a huge part of that win. Probably don't get the win without Bishop. And then Dwayne Brown. I mean, you saw Rick Barnes at the end of the game, kind of shocked that he played 30 minutes, and he was productive that whole entire 30 minutes. I mean, Dwayne Brown he's not your normal freshman, at least not for Tennessee State. That is, he's he's a problem. He's a man child, and If that man stays 3, even 4 years at Tennessee, and he develops some sort of a jumper, which he has enough soft touch that I'm sure he could develop a nice little 15, 20 footer. But he could, I don't want to put big expectations on him because I mean, before the end of the year, but at the beginning of the year, I said that Felix Okpara would be SEC Player of the Year, and I don't think that's going to happen. But as the injuries and stuff kind of slow him down. So I'm not going to put too big expectations on Dwayne right now. But he's a beast, let's put it that way. Levi, you got anything to say about Vanderbilt?
Yeah, you touched on a lot of the main points that I was going to talk about with Bishop Boswell. Just absolutely gritty performance, just what we're accustomed to. Glue guy type of dude. He's good. He's a winner, and it fell back into, I don't remember what game it was. It may have been at Alabama where we got that huge win and Bishop was talking and you were like, this team needs some of that. Like we
It
got to
was.
have that. And then once again, he's the first one to the Vanderbilt student section saying, like, yeah, have fun going home, stuff like that. And at times this team has felt like they're a dog that is pretty rabid but doesn't have much teeth. And it's starting to feel like this team is getting some teeth to their bark, to their bite. So that was really nice to see from Bishop. But Dwayne Brown, I tweeted during the game, got into a bunch of heated arguments over it, but I
I
said he's a
saw that.
future SEC Player of the Year. This guy decides to tell me that comparing him to Grant is ridiculous. Like, no, I watched both as freshmen. They're both very similar. Grant had better handles, I guess, based off the fact he played a little bit more guard in high school ball.
And
But
Grant
that's
was
not.
also relied on a lot more.
He was what? I'm sorry.
He was relied on a lot more as a
Yeah,
freshman.
once Fulkerson went down that freshman year, I mean, Grant had to be the guy. And we saw that transpire to him being the SEC Player of the Year as a sophomore. Basketball handles are probably some of the easiest things. That's probably me stating this in a very terrible way, but it's something that you can definitely develop over a summer into a fall. And I think Dwayne Brown, with his game, with his style, with his build, could easily be a stretch four type guy for us next year and moving forward. And he's kind of got the unless he develops a true 3-point jump shot, he's got the 4-year game. And I promise you, Tennessee is going to have to pay him a ton of money in the future because there's going to be a lot of teams that want him, not even this offseason, but the next and the next. And you know how it is in college ball nowadays. Somebody will give somebody 7 mil. But he comes from a really good family, from what I'm told. But yeah, I'm standing on that fact, Dallas. And, we'll do the podcast next year and we'll do it the next year. Hopefully, I'm right for once. And he is an SEC Player of the Year type guy, which I just see it in his game. But I also have to give a shout out to Jacoby Gillespie, man. Played probably, in my opinion, he didn't score the most, but he did score the most on the team, but he didn't go crazy. But really handled the game, and his defense on Tyler Tanner was flat out phenomenal for maybe minus 2 possessions the entire game. And Tanner's a good player, a really good player. So I think at the end of the day, you have to really chalk this one up with the bench coming through really well. It'd be nice to have a healthy bench. It'd be nice to have, Felix Okpara, or I'm sorry, Felix Okpara, JP Estrella. Their names are similar. They look a lot alike. And Troy Henderson, which I assume is still nursing that shoulder. While we're not seeing much of him, we're seeing more Ethan Berg, which I'm fine with. Berg's playing fine. Poor guy gets so much crap online, and I'm just like, I'm not. I mean, at times, yeah, I text you, so what was he thinking? But a lot of times, honestly, Ethan Berg plays his butt off, and I'm okay with a guy that goes out there and makes a few mistakes while he's playing his butt off. So I think that's our going to put that win over at Alabama on the road because that Vanderbilt team beat Alabama at home. So that's our second biggest win on the year, and obviously Houston's first.
Yeah,
But we got two this week to where if we can go 2-0 this week, we are firmly looking at a top 16 seed, which is what we talked about early in the year. That should be the goal for this team.
absolutely. And I mean, that Vanderbilt game, I mean, your two shots that Vanderbilt just absolutely, I don't think the odds were above 10% that those things
You got to
go
move.
in.
You got to move your camper closer to the Walmart or something, dude.
Yeah. Am I breaking up?
Pretty much the whole podcast, but it's starting to get really bad now. You have to move that camper closer to the Walmart. The Walmart Wi-Fi is not the best either. I know that, but
No,
you
it's
got to
it's
figure it
not.
out.
Picking up a little bit better now.
Yeah, yeah, you're
All right,
better. I can at least see you moving.
all right. But as I was going,
Most of the podcasts you've been like this. Prostate exam on live podcast. That's crazy.
but anyway, like I was saying, and Tennessee with two Vanderbilt shots from that game being a 7, 8, 9, 10 point win. Because I mean, those two shots that Vanderbilt hit that were just unbelievable. That kind of gave them some momentum, and without those, Tennessee probably pulls that away by 10
They hit
easily.
four. They hit
Four of them,
four shots
or
during that game. Two in the first half, two in the second. The two in the second half were a little more egregious. The one in the first half where Tyler Tanner just kind of had to pull up from 40 and hit it, like, whatever. I can deal with that. He's a good player. But the Duke Miles one late, like, you got to be kidding me, man. We played perfect defense for 30 seconds and they somehow just, I don't know. That game was frustrating at times, but at the end of the day, we have Nate Mint and they don't.
that's what it comes down to. So let's go ahead and get on to Missouri tonight on Ken Palm. They're currently the 52nd ranked offense, the 98th ranked defense, led by Mark Mitchell, Trent Pierce, and a mix of Sean Phillips Jr. and Jaden Stone, all of whom are seniors except for Pierce. He's a junior, so it's a very old, just established veteran team, similar to Tennessee, in that they are a team that relies on their height and length, just size overall. They would try to beat Tennessee probably tonight at their own game a little bit. I don't think they're better at Tennessee at what Tennessee does. They are Missouri. It is. It's 32-4 at home over 2 seasons, so it's not really an easy place to win, despite the fact that they only have about 1,000 people at one time, maybe in each game. That's including the players and the thing and the coaching staff and all that. But if Jalen Estrella, if JP Estrella
It's hard to do
plays
today,
to
man.
yeah, if JP Estrella plays tonight, sure, I think Tennessee pulls this off. It's going to be a tough one without JP, but I do think Tennessee pulls it off regardless. I do want to get on around to. I mentioned Jalen Estrella because I was going to mention Jalen Carey next. I wanted to ask you, Levi, do you think Jalen Carey is getting too much flack, or is some of it warranted? And the because I mean, some people are kind of frustrated with his play here late.
I'm not sure why you'd be frustrated with Carey's play. I mean, yeah, he's not a true rim finisher. He's got to have position, and at times it does seem like he forces the ball up towards the rim a little bit. You and I both know as shorter post players um, in our times playing ball. I had to play some post even in college, and it was never a fun time. And I didn't have the build Jalen Carey does. But overall, I don't see how you could be truly upset. He brings a lot of attention to himself when he catches the ball in the post. Teams have to focus on that. I sometimes wish he would keep his eyes up a little more, but that's probably something that going into his senior year he'll work on. Rick Barnes will probably help him out with that. But I see no reason to be upset with Carey. I mean, he's going to get blocked. He's a shorter finisher around the rim, and at times you think you got position and you're going to get blocked. And a lot of times when you get blocked, it's going to be out of bounds, our ball, or off the rim, and we're going to have a chance for a rebound. So I don't see anything in Carey's game, possibly other than what we talked about through text Saturday about his closeouts. I don't understand why he has 2 feet in the paint when the ball's getting driven in. Like you have Okpara and another lengthy guy like Nate Ament already in the paint. He doesn't need to get 2 feet. He can barely recover when the ball's kicked out right in front of his face. So that is one thing that I could see people being like, why is he doing that? But past that, I could see no reason whatsoever that you'd be upset with the way Jalen Carey's been playing.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about his offensive game and offensive output that I will criticize is I feel like a lot of times he catch the ball at the top of the wing there and he'll want to try to drive in. He's not really a downhill driver. He's much better with his back to the basket. If he would do more of that and just kind of make his drives as a way to pass the ball, it'd probably be better off for him. But he's not effective, like you said, really a lot of times around the rim because he does get blocked. But even when he's not out there scoring, just his body and his presence, his physical force that he gives, because when he bangs that ball down, he's driving that shoulder right into the defense, and that wears guys down, and that makes it easier for guys like JP Estrella, Felix Okpar to come in and pick up the pieces and finish them off, for lack of a better term. But that's something you don't see
Yeah,
in the
it's
stats.
similar. It's similar to having like a bruising running back,
Yeah,
to go with your quickness. JP Estrella is a great finisher around the rim 90% of the time, and Felix has gotten better since that. It looks like that hip calf injury is getting more and more to 100%. He looks like he's got a lot more lift. But yeah, like great comparison for sure. It's almost like bringing in your bruising running back in the fourth and saying, "All right, go get us 3 yards in a cloud of dust so that we can bring in somebody else here in about 2 or 3 possessions, and they'll have free reign and a lot more freedom of movement." So
yeah, and like you won't see that on the box score, on the analytics, on the metrics, none of that. It's not going to say like driven this
there's no
much of
bruising
it.
points.
Yeah, no reason points. But anyway, let's move on to Alabama this weekend. I don't think there's really enough, unless you have anything else to say, Levi, about Missouri.
Not at all.
All right. I don't really think there's nothing we can say that hasn't been said already about this Alabama team and Tennessee, the way they match up with them. We talked about it whenever Tennessee went down to Tuscaloosa. I think it just comes down to does Rick Barnes once again stuff Nate Oates into our locker? I mean, one thing about this Alabama team this time is they won't have 35-year-old man Charles Bediako, who was denied an appeal for like the fifth time. Uh, so we will see if that changes things a little bit from Alabama's game plan. I'm not sure we expected them to lob the ball to Bediako as much as they did in Tuscaloosa. So we'll see how that changes. You got anything you want to add, Levi, about Alabama before we move on to the meat and potatoes of the night, so the day's segment episode?
They could just go back and watch our thing where I say for some reason Rick Barnes, he knows how to close out on those Alabama shooters. He teaches his guys, and it's almost like we close out perfectly against them. But they also take some really rough shots at times, which I'm perfectly fine with. And they'll likely do it again Saturday. Saturday's an orange out. I don't know if you've seen that. So
Yeah.
it'll be loud. It's a Saturday at 6, perfect timing. Everybody can get into downtown, get liquored up, eat some a decent lunch, and then get to the game. Or I've been seeing actually a couple people tailgating for basketball games at the G10 lot up top recently, which has been cool to see. Like, oh look, man, they're grilling burgers and they're getting fired up for a Saturday game. That's cool. It's cool to see. So, I mean, like I said, they could go back and just watch our other segment on when we really got into Alabama. Is Alabama fully healthy for this one, Dallas? Because they weren't
I
when we went
believe
down there.
Holloway was the only one they was missing last. Was it at Holloway and Amari Allen, right?
Yeah.
I believe both are healthy, so they should be at full strength. And you mentioned Tennessee's closeouts, and something I noticed that I haven't really. I'm not sure if I just wasn't paying attention or if they've been doing this all year long. Is they don't really close out at the shooter; they close out to the side of the shooter. Now that kind of prevents them from fouling a 3-point shooter, even though they did foul one.
We do it all the time.
Yeah, but I guess when you're and it's such an aggressive closeout, you're going to foul 3-point shooters. It's just kind of are you willing to risk fouling once or twice a game to hold a team to pretty much below 30-20%? But anyway,
What do you before we move on real quick, what do you think that our floor should be? Where do we want Alabama to score Saturday? Because they're first in the country in points per game. What do we want Alabama to average for us to be able to have a great chance at winning
well,
Saturday? What
they've
would be the
never
ideal score?
the last like 5 to 6 games against Tennessee, they haven't hit 80. So around 70 to 75, I feel pretty comfortable with. If you're holding Alabama at around, I'm going to say 70, 74. I think if they score 74, we're probably feeling pretty good. I don't know about you. Would
Yeah, I
you
would say
agree?
74, 75. You got to keep them. You got to keep them under 80. I don't think we can score 80 on them. So we can keep it in the 60s. I'll love it. If it'll be like the
Oh
Vandy
yeah.
game we just played, I'm all for that.
Oh yeah. If it's in the 60s, I have a
So
hard time seeing Alabama pull out that win. But with that being said, we're going to move
yeah.
on to do some Final Four picks. We done some earlier in the year. These will be the second to last Final Four picks we do. Just want to see if anything's changed from the I don't guess it was really the preseason, but the out of conference slate.
Don't laugh at me,
Uh,
Dallas.
I'll give one
You
of my
can't get the love of
teams.
a woman to save your life.
You'll be surprised. I give one of my teams. You give you give one of your teams, and we just still get to the Final Four. So
All
first of
right.
all, I'm once again sticking with Tennessee. It's I mean, unless they're like not even going to make the tournament, I'm having Tennessee in the Final Four. It's going to happen one of these years. I'll be right. So give me Tennessee. Levi, who's one of your teams in the Final Four?
Nah. I'm going to take Michigan. I like everything they have going. So I'm going to definitely Michigan's going to be my first lock to the Final Four by probably quite a wide margin, to be honest.
All right, moving on next. I have Duke. I had Duke at the beginning of the year as well, along with Tennessee. I mean, they just beat Michigan. Cameron Boozer, it seems that no matter who he's up against, he's going to be effective. This
Hmm.
Duke team is really, really talented. They kind of remind me of the Jaleel Okafor Duke team. They don't have that. They do have that one guy really in Cameron Boozer, like they did Okafor, but they was very, very well balanced. So give me Duke, Levi, who's your second Final Four team.
I'm going to stick with Houston as another as one that I had originally, mainly because I like everything that they do, and they have Kingston Flemings, and a lot of teams don't. That's my cat. So yeah, give me Houston as my second lock for the Final Four.
You know, I actually had Houston as well, and I had Arkansas. Those two teams I don't have right now, but when the bracket comes out, it's very likely that I like the way their draw comes up, so they'll be in my Final Four my Final Four. It's kind of one tongue twister. So this position, I have Michigan, like you said. I mean, they've just been a machine. The fact that again Duke beat them was very impressive to me. So give me Michigan and Levi, who is your third team.
That's this is where like it's kind of the nitty gritty. I like both Michigan and Houston a lot, so that's why I kind of just um, give me Florida. As much as I hate to say it, I just think they got the bigs, and their guard plays came around a little bit, maybe just enough, but their bigs are just so good, and the Clavshar kid can for some reason hit every shot he wants to hit recently. So I'll take Florida as my third lock to the
All
Final
right.
Four, as much as that one makes me want to slam my head against the wall.
All right. My fourth and final team. This is one I kind of played around with. I had Arizona. I had Florida. I finally settled on Illinois. It's probably a less than 10% chance that Illinois actually be in my Final Four come bracket time. But for now, I like the way they're playing. I know they just took a pretty tough loss a few games ago, but I think Brad Underwood is a really good coach. I've said that plenty of times on here. So give me the Fighting Illini in the Final Four. So my Final Four is Tennessee, Duke, Michigan, Illinois. Levi, who is your fourth and final team?
Yeah, I'd really like to go Illinois here because I like Illinois a lot. But this one is definitely a toss up for me. But I think I'll have to stick with Purdue on that. I think I think Smith can get them there, and I think has become a really solid NCAA tournament coach after a couple hiccups here and there. Maybe the biggest upset in college basketball history. But so yeah, I'll stick with Purdue and I'll stick with Houston. And I'll rotate in a couple teams. You're still crazy as heck for thinking this Tennessee team could make a Final Four, but hey, they went out, they win the SEC tournament. Me and you might we could talk about it.
Hey, I
I
mean,
don't think you want to do that though. I don't think you want to win all the way into the tournament like that.
no, I think SEC tournament. I mean, if we can make the championship final, that's probably good. But I mean, it's such a physical toll on the guys. It's hard to deal with. But I do want to point out, Levi, that you just put Purdue in your Final Four after yesterday texting me, quote, Purdue is cheeks.
Purdue is what?
Cheeks. Your words. not mine.
Cheating? Is
Cheeks,
that what I
butt
said?
cheeks,
Oh,
cheeks.
cheeks. Right now they are.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to point that out. All right, so moving on to our college basketball pick'ems here. We got 5 games this week. Current records: I'm 33 and 19. Levi, you are 27 and 25. Starting out with St. John's at UConn. I'm also going to say, give me UConn. St. John's has been playing better of late. They're starting to look more like the team that a lot of people had in their Final Four, but I'm still going UConn on their home court. Levi, who you got?
Yeah, I'll take UConn at home. Store's tough, and you said it since the beginning of the year, and the more and more I watch St. John's, I just really don't believe in that team whatsoever. They're just not tournament time. They are going to get pummeled by somebody, and it's going to be nasty, and it's going to be funny to watch the Patino press conference because they don't have the shooters, and and in tournament time, you got to be able to hit open jumpers, and that St. John's team is about as putrid of a shooting team as I feel like I've seen in a long time. That's still somehow regarded as a really high class basketball team.
Yeah, and I mean, moving on next, we have Kansas at Arizona. Kansas just got a big win at home against Houston after falling at home to Cincinnati in what may be one of the weirdest back-to-back results I've ever seen. So this time we have them going to Arizona. Give me Arizona. That home court is brutal for Arizona and it's hard to win on Arizona's home court. Give me the Wildcats there. Levi, who you got?
Yeah, I got Arizona in that one. I don't see any way Kansas can turn back around and another cat in the screen. Um, uh, Figure it out to win back to don't put his butt in the screen. Back to back games like they just did. I mean, they Kingston Fleming's had a pretty putrid game against Kansas, maybe his worst of the year, and I think Kansas may have benefited from that. I mean, obviously they did, but yeah, give me Arizona.
All right, moving on. We have Arkansas at Florida. I, I want Arkansas to win this because I want Tennessee to have a shot at least a share of the regular season SEC title. But I just don't see no way Arkansas pulls it off. So give me Florida at home on the swamp. Levi, who do you have?
I'm gonna once again, like I said, I'm going wild. I feel like this kind of feels like the Auburn game, and Arkansas has the better guards. They got the shot makers. Florida doesn't, and other than Clavshar, Florida really doesn't have shot makers unless they're playing us, and somehow Boogie Flan decides that he's going to turn into prime Steph Curry. But yeah, I'll take Arkansas. I like Malik Thomas. I think the what's his name, Billy Richmond,
Richmond. Yeah,
Billy Billy
Billy
Richmond,
Richmond.
Billy the Kid is what they're calling him or whatever. I think he's really found like a a role within the offense there at Arkansas, and when you watch him play, he kind of I don't know. Not a good shooter, but man, he's a freak athlete, and that's perfect for the Calipari dribble drive. You know, get to the nail offense. So it's working really well for him at the moment, and I think that this kind of feels like the Auburn game where they'll be hot enough to get it done down there in Gainesville.
You would hear no complaints from me. All right, moving on. We have Michigan at Illinois. Um, Michigan is just I think they're going to be better than Illinois on this day. I'm not 100% sure they're a better team. Actually, that's kind of hard because I do think Michigan is one of the best teams in the country. But at the same time, I'm not sure if their style of play translates to March. But this isn't March we're talking about, but at least tournament. But Michigan, give me the Wolverines on the road at Illinois. Levi, who you got?
Just did a coin flip, and I'm gonna take Michigan as well. I couldn't pick this one. At Illinois can be really tough to play. They put their student shot on the floors, you know. And we went in there and got the win last year, but this is not the same Illinois team. This is truly probably the most 50-50 game you picked out of the weekend in the week. So I'm going to take Michigan just because I think Michigan can slow them down.
All right, moving on. We have Virginia at Duke, the final game of the week. I'm taking Duke. It's hard to win in Cameron Indoor, obviously. Virginia is playing pretty solid basketball right now, but give me the Blue Devils at home. Levi, who do you have?
Yeah, I'll take Duke at home. Duke's going to be the ACC's real only true golden shot to win the whole thing this year, and the ACC can be similar to the SEC in the ways that they do things. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple calls go Duke's way at home. I know, shocker to everybody that listens. So I'll take Duke.
All right, moving on to our hardly known Hoopers this week. I forgot to tell you once again who I had, but it's Utah State freshman Adeline Elliman, 6'9", 185 pounds. So the people who say George McIntyre is too skinny would have an absolute come apart watching Elliman. He's a very lanky and versatile offensively. The first time I actually got to watch him was against, I think it was Vermont, I believe that's who they was playing, and he made a Dirk Nowitzki one-legged fadeaway, and I was a fan from there on out. He's only averaging 7 points a game right now on 47% from the field, but 9 points per game in conference play. The long term potential is definitely there, though, and someone I'm buying long term stock in. He'll be in the tournament too with Utah State unless something drastic goes wrong with them. So keep an eye out for Adlin Elliman and his long term potential and growth and just everything about him is very exciting to watch. Levi, who is your hardly known Hooper of the week?
We're going to St. Louis for Trey Green. A lot of everybody knows Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Everybody knows Kareem, but not many people know Trey Green. He's probably their best player overall. Runs a lot of their offense and is a really solid player. And basically, just he's the oh, I'm not getting into that again before you start going crazy. But he drives the car. We'll say that. So if you're a huge fan of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, check out Trey Green, number 3 for St. Louis. Just super fun guy to watch. And when you have an effective offense like they run with a lot of motion, a lot of sets, and you need a good solid guard to get things started, he's the type of guy that can do that for you.
All right, it's a good selection. And now, before we get off of here, let's move on to what do you want to talk about this week. I'm got a food section that we're going to do it towards the end, but real quick, you saw the Andrea Carter video, right?
I did.
Did you see Kim? I said Kim Parker, Candace Parker's response to it.
I did.
What's your thoughts there?
Uh, they're both right.
I I kind of feel the same thing. I mean, I
It's
think
it's
the
hard to go against two of those. I mean, Candace is an absolute legend and a goat. So you'd be like, oh, I'd rather take Candace's side on this. But Andrea Carter was 100% correct with the buy-in. It doesn't matter what kind of money you got. You got to have buy-in to your program, and I think that's actually kind of hurt the Lady Vols a little bit this year. I think you got a couple that kind of showed up thinking that, well, I'm getting paid. Who cares? And then they're getting paid more money now than they probably ever will in the WNBA. So, no offense to the
yeah,
WNBA. It's a great league. Everybody
yeah,
watches it.
definitely. Moving on real quick, y'all. Kim Caldwell and the Lady Vols, like we just talked about, struggling pretty mightily right now. And there's a thing that I've heard a lot from some of the former players, Brittany Jackson included, like the expectations of the program. And this is a question I'd like to ask her as well. I'd like to try to get her on here soon. Pretty sure I would know her answer to it, but I mean, it's been how many years since Tennessee's last Final Four national championship? Has it been 20 years yet?
Not yet, but it's close.
It's close. So, do we start to lower those expectations, or is that something that's set in stone? No matter what happens, Tennessee has to have these expectations.
Yeah, let's bring Brittany Jackson on and ask her that question.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure I know what her response would be.
The Final
I,
Four is
I
all. It does not matter. It
yeah,
is always the
yeah,
goal. I mean, with recently with the coaching change to finally, I hate to say it, getting out of the quote unquote sisterhood of the Lady Vols. I can understand taking a couple steps back, but I'd like to implore people not to go crazy. And let's see what year 3 gets us from Coach Caldwell. If year 3 is an absolute disaster, which is what I would say this year has been so far with just the antics and horrible losses, um, but let's see what year three gets us, and then past that, then if next year's the same as this year, then absolutely you gotta start making the call. Maybe possibly back to the sisterhood. And there is somebody that I'm quite sure would take the job if given the right amount of money and resources, like I think that Danny White would be willing to give. And it's almost like he has a little bit of a Duke connection. So I'm not going to say any names, but it's Kara Lawson, who I also don't think is that great, but I do think she'd have you competing at least for Elite Eight's Final Fours. I couldn't say that she'd ever get us. Will anybody beat Pat? No. Not even Gino Auriemma, not even Don Staley. They're just not on Pat's level. So
At this point, I just want someone who can get us back to the level that um her name is completely blanking. Holly Warwick. At this
yeah,
point,
Holly Warlick.
I mean, three straight Elite Eights. I would lock that in right now if you told me that over the next 3 seasons, Kim Caldwell takes you to three straight Elite Eights. I think pretty much everyone would lock that in. All right, so moving on finally to the last subject. Do you have the graphic or do I need to pull it up here?
No, I have it on my phone right here in front of me.
All right.
I don't even know half
Four,
these. What the heck is Shakey's Pizza?
no, I don't know. But
And
you got,
Maryland Birdie's Chicken? Fried chicken? Fried chicken? I don't know.
yeah, there's a bunch of these here that I have no idea. I'm sure everyone's seen them. It's the restaurant pictures of their logos. It's like you can only have four restaurants in your city. Which of these four are you choosing? For me, I'm going to go with Panda Express. Love Panda. Absolutely
I got my
love
screen.
love Panda. I mean,
I'm just
the
trying to
orange
watch
chicken,
videos.
elite. So give
I
me
like that mushroom
Pandas.
chicken too. Mushroom chicken is
Yeah,
good as well. If you
give
don't
me
have the palate of a 7-year-old.
give me Panda as my first choice. Levi, who's your first? What is your first choice?
Oof. First choice, man. I gotta go Taco Bell. Only because it is the goat. It is it's cheap. It's good. I don't care what quality of food I'm getting. You can make it better. Just substitute the daggone beef for the slow roasted chicken nowadays, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. My second choice, Firehouse Subs. If I had a Firehouse Subs near me and it wasn't
Taco
at
Bell, Chick-fil-A,
and you could afford it, I mean, it's. I would never go to Subway
lemon
because
chicken.
I mean
Are you gonna
the
join the podcast, or are you gonna sit over here and yap?
I'm not enjoying anything.
I'm
the
with you,
Honestly,
quad.
Dallas. What do you
top three fast foods are.
what is your go-to sub at Firehouse? Is the hook and ladder? I'm assuming you're a hook and ladder kind of guy.
Yeah, is that the with like the
Fire.
brisket like stuff and the
No, that's I do the New York steamer. It's brisket and pastrami.
yeah, that's what I get the New York steamer. But if the quality of Subway is down here, Firehouse is up here, then there's
100%.
Jersey Mike's, then there's Jimmy John's, and then way down here Subway.
No, 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 no. You're wrong about it all.
All right, Levi, who's your second restaurant? Your second restaurant here.
Um, Honestly, man, we keep losing them. We only got one in the area still, and it's Fuddruckers. I love Fuddruckers, dude. I don't know if you've been to a Fuddruckers before,
Yeah,
but top four burger you could get. That half-pound burger they had was the perfect size, and they had the Hot Rocks burger, which was like a smoked cheddar cheese, um, bacon, barbecue sauce, like just an incredible, just an incredible
Am I
burger.
supposed to be picking off this list?
Yes, you have to pick off that list.
What is my four restaurants?
all right. My third,
Taco Bell,
I'm going with Taco
Chick-fil-A,
Bell. That's my third. I mean, like everything you said, just
Dunkin'.
everything you said. All right, Levi, what's your third?
If I
What?
had my phone, I'd tell you, Dallas.
I don't know.
Faith has Taco Bell, Chick-fil-A, Dunkin', and she doesn't know. I've never heard of El Pollo Loco, but I bet that's probably pretty good.
I've heard
Let
it's
Um,
me
pretty good.
see.
let's go for my third. I think I'm gonna have to go Firehouse because I really house the New York.
Mention of Gus's.
Okay, Gus's is
All
not on
right.
the list. Firehouse is the New York Steamers Elite, and their meatball subs actually really good too. If you're into
Oh yeah,
meatball
yeah,
subs, they got a pretty solid
it,
meatball sub. So
it is. All right. My fourth and final one. That I wanted a pizza place, but I also wanted something a little different. So I went with Fazoli's. You can get pizza there. You can get the pasta. They used to have wings. Don't know if they still do or not. But
No, they
Fazoli's,
don't. Not at the Knoxville location. They don't have wings anymore.
I think is just elite. I love it. Can't get enough of it. So Levi,
Hmm.
what's your
It's very good.
fourth
Um,
and final?
I'm gonna actually go the pizza route, and it was tough. There were two on here between um, Pizza Hut and Little Caesars, because Little Caesars is great when somebody isn't in your ear telling you that it's bad.
It's disgusting.
And it's quick and it's easy. But I'm gonna take Pizza Hut. But I do love Sparrow, but the Sparrow is like it's a mall thing. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't we don't we don't really have Sparrows just I can drive to around here. So,
These aren't even like the same category, so how are you supposed to pick four?
but it's weird though, Dallas, with this whole list. Like you have Applebee's on there, like that's a sit down
Yeah,
restaurant.
You have
yeah.
Cold Stone, that's only ice
Yeah,
cream.
Cold Stone's ice cream, and then there's like pizzas. Like
Dairy
basically
Queen chicken fingers are actually fire.
Dairy Queen does have good chicken fingers, yes, I agree. But Arby's would be my honorable mention because
Love the curly fries.
Arby's is actually really good, man. It's hard to beat a good
Yeah,
like half pound beef and cheddar with a little horsey sauce on it, the curly fries, and a nice crisp Coke. Because ever since they switched from Pepsi to Coke, Arby's is prime.
you would like the meats. All right.
I
And
do
with that
love the
being
meats.
and
Okay,
with that being
stop sticking
said,
your tongue out. You're on
and
podcast right now.
with that being said, I guess let's go ahead and wrap everything up. Thanks everyone for listening to this week's, and hopefully next week, Levi, we can record on Monday. Levi will have his exam and all stuff all done.
I didn't have a prostate exam, so I'm not sure what you're going on about with that. But
Well, you said it was a different type of hands free or something like that. So
yeah, that's valid for
anyway,
once. Yeah.
let's go ahead and get off of here.
Why
And
don't you
thanks
claim the
everyone for
cake?
listening. And go Vols,
All right. See you, brother. Go Vols.
go Vols.